Hey everyone, Ayana here. I'm here with Kaitlin Smith, a documentary filmmaker and producer and editor. She is one of my best friends from college. We met at UA, and I am so appreciative to have her here on our next this new episode of Community Talks, which we haven't done in a while. So it's very exciting to have you on and get your information.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Kaitlin, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, what got you into documentaries, and where you're planning to head next?
Yeah, so I've had a passion for film since I was little. I believe it was fourth grade when I originally started loving film and wanted to work in film. I come from a very diverse background. My dad was active duty military, so I lived everywhere in the country. I got to experience all different types of cultures and places, and that really meant a lot to me. And meeting all different types of people from different backgrounds is something that stuck with me for a long time and all the way into college. In college, I attended the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and I studied documentary production. And I knew that's where my heart lied. And so I made my first documentary right after college, Goddess 1450, which has to do with the Coast Guard's response to Hurricane Katrina. And it was then that I knew that was my purpose in life. I had this sensation and fulfilledness in my body, and I'm like, this is my path in life, this is what I have to do. With documentaries compared to motion pictures, they're raw, they're real, they're unedited, and they're one of the most powerful tools we can have in society, and getting stories from places that we can't necessarily go, getting them out there into the mainstream. So I love documentary filmmaking, and that's what I've decided to pursue as my full career. However, that wasn't the original path after college. After college, I ended up moving to Los Angeles and got a job with Warner Brothers Pictures as an editor. I really enjoy editing. I still have passion for it. I believe the editors are the individuals who put the pieces together, put all the puzzle pieces of a story, get them together in the timeline, and ultimately show viewers that film. But being there, I realized that I didn't experience that same fulfillment, that same passion that I had for documentaries. So I actually resigned from Warner Brothers at the beginning of 2020 to pursue my lifelong dream. I have so many stories that I want to tell, whether it be historical documentaries, whether it be documentaries of current events. And so that's my goal now, is to get those off the ground and to tell stories of people who don't have a platform to have their voice told, and give them a platform and let people hear them and for us to listen.
And that's what we need to do. So that's absolutely beautiful, because as we're going through COVID and social injustice, which has been going on forever, but being brought back to the forefront again, it's very important that we are able to share these stories with one another, as well as, like you said, grabbing the platforms for those voices that are never heard.
And that's key, those platforms, because, like you and I mean, we're not these big celebrities. We don't have access to these big streaming platforms quite yet, like Netflix or HBO and Hulu. But, I've thought of, YouTube. Everyone goes to YouTube, it's free. And so the whole goal of documentary filmmaking is to give a platform for those who don't have any. It is I don't know if y'all understand, but it's very difficult for filmmakers to get on to like Netflix, HBO, Hulu. You kind of have to have an in or know someone or be established already. So I actually have thought of using YouTube as my forefront to start off with, and to give an average American citizen, no matter what your economic background, no matter what your race, a way to project their voice and to have people listen to it. Because my whole idea is to show real America, because I feel like our current government, rather in the past, now, or the future, is losing sight of the average American citizen. And so I want to create a platform for that average American citizen to talk to our leaders, essentially.
That's important. Don't we need it?
Yes, I agree.
All right, so you've already answered what interested you about the film industry. Could you tell us a little bit more about Paratus 1450, even though I know about it because I helped participate in creating it and the journey, which was amazing. But as far as going behind talking about people whose stories aren't projected, even the Coast Guard in that aspect, you know, hearing their personal stories was amazing. So if you want to share a little.
Their stories were so inspiring. Literally, our crew members would cry and we would like sit there in awe, and after interviewing, like, wow, they were so humbling. The Coast Guard has a lot of humble people in their service. So being from New Orleans, my family being from New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina was a very devastating time for our family. And my dad spent 27 years in the Coast Guard. So this was always a subject that I was intrigued in. And I'm also a weather nerd. I love weather. I love hurricanes. I love tornadoes. So it all came together. So I made Paratus 1450. I was getting ready to graduate from college. So it started out as a small college project and then went into this huge documentary that made it on national television, which was I was so honored because I needed these people's stories out there. So the documentary has to do with the Coast Guard's air rescue in the 2 weeks, the hours after to 2 weeks later from Katrina's landfall. And they ended up having one of the greatest search and rescue operations in our nation's history. And they rescued almost 34,000 people alone. And, you know, Katrina shed so much bad light and darkness around Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. It was just all you saw in the news was devastation. And you really didn't hear what was happening behind the scenes. And what I was trying to show people is the Coast Guard was literally a ray of hope for thousands during this natural disaster. They brought so much light into such a horrific situation. And a lot of us did not know that story at all. We would see like helicopters on the news, but we didn't hear from them what they were encountering, what all the challenges and obstacles were to rescue these people off rooftops or in nursing homes or hospitals and floodwaters. And so that's what Paratus 1450 is about. And let me tell you, as a daughter of a Coast Guard officer, being from New Orleans and hearing all about Katrina, I had no idea what they were saying. Like, I had no idea what their stories were. I thought, oh, you just go pick someone off a rooftop. No. I mean, rescue swimmers were being put in the waters where electrical lines were in the water at the same time, could have been electrocuted. They were put in waters with all these chemicals that had spilled out. They got chemical burns all over their body, like all these obstacles, and they still kept going. I don't know how they did that. They are so brave, so courageous, and I am honored for what they did to the city of New Orleans, to the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and it's just so inspiring, their stories. And they just kept saying to my crew and I, they just kept saying, what was our job? What were we supposed to do? I'm like, I wouldn't have risked my life for that. It's my job. We're here to help people. And so that is what gets me as a documentary filmmaker, because after it aired, all these men and women were contacting our crew through social media or through phone calls, and were saying, thank you for telling our story. I've suffered from PTSD and I was never able to talk to my wife. This story should have been told 10 years ago. Thank you for not forgetting about the Coast Guard. You know, we're a small service, but we are so proud of what we do. And I'm like, this is why I make films, because I'm able to open up people. I'm able to not only inspire and educate, but I'm able to take a Coast Guard officer who's a pilot, who suffered from PTSD, and him open up to his wife about his experience during Hurricane Katrina. And matters. It's those hard conversations that matter. And as a documentary filmmaker, if I can do that, then I've had the biggest impact of all. No award, no honor is bigger than being able to open up people and, have conversations, potentially change perspectives. And, that's my goal. So.
Oh, that's chilling. You gave me goosebumps. It really was such an honor to be a part of your crew. It was an honor and blessing just to even hear their stories, because wow. Again,
they were powerful.
Yeah, and the Coast Guard is such an underrated service. Everybody's always talking negatively, like, oh, they're the stepchild of the Navy or this and that. And it's like, but at the same time, look at what they've done. And it's usually within these domestic disasters that they step in most to, help people.
They are. And if you remember, we went to a premiere in Northern California, and those kids, young individuals who had just joined the Coast Guard, and they said, we wanted to join a service that saved lives, not take lives. And that has stuck with me forever. And as we speak right now, there's 2 storms that are supposed to turn into hurricanes that are headed straight for Louisiana. And I can assure you right now, the Coast Guard is staging their assets, preparing for rescues if necessary. So they piranhas. They are always ready.
Always ready.
That is their job. So it was amazing. I loved it. That's where my passion lies. It's documentary filmmaking.
Well, I can't wait to see more of what you're about to do.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, because I was so excited. It's the fulfillment. It's like, yes, I love it.
Yes. So speaking about that, what are your other goals that you'd like to accomplish, or an impact that you would like to make, other than, opening up for conversation and highlighting voices that have been hidden for so long?
Yeah, so I, like probably a lot of other Americans right now, my goal in life, especially for future generations, would be to create a more loving, caring, inclusive world. I would love to see a world where we can all live together in peace, no matter any of our differences. If it's race, economic status, if it's a disability, we don't see that. We just see our fellow brother, our fellow sister, we're all one, and we all love each other. That is my goal in life, to create that. And I feel like I could do that through documentary filmmaking and through hard conversations, which is, as a filmmaker, you have to start those. Something I've always believed from the beginning as a filmmaker, that we should not be the biased person. I would like the lens and the audience to do all the talking. I make sure my documentaries aren't one-sided. I would like to present both sides and have my audience conclude their own opinion about the subject, because I'm all about fairness and I'm all about honesty, which is something that is not found in today's society a lot. And if we were more truthful and honest, hopefully we could live in a better world. So yeah, I would like to tell stories that can help bring people together. Another, not necessarily a hobby, but another passion of mine is disabilities, people with disabilities. I worked with arts and autism in college. I have a cousin with a disability. I have a good friend, a former coworker whose brother has autism. And it's always been something to me to want to learn more about disabilities. And, I've always thought in my life I'd want to adopt a child with Down syndrome, because it's just something that I gravitate to. I want to be part of it. And so I just want people to not be afraid to learn about disabilities, not be afraid of people with disabilities, not be afraid of people of a different race, or they're different than me, so I don't want to go over there. They're different. Whether it be your hair color, your face, your color of your skin, the way you walk, or if you're in a wheelchair, it's the differences that divide us. So if we as the filmmakers break down those barriers and say, nope, this kid's just like you and I. He loves video games, he loves movies, he loves books, he likes college football, roll tide. once we break down those barriers, that's how we bring people together. So I want to be able to show that in all of my documentaries. And the documentary that I'm currently working on now, which is a dream of mine, because it's about tornadoes. I love weather, y'all. I know I'm sick of the head. I want to show people that natural disasters, they affect everyone. Rich, poor, black, white, they affect everyone. And this next documentary that I'm working on, I would like to show that throughout. I would like it to be so diversified so that people understand Mother Nature doesn't matter. She'll affect anybody. And so, yeah, I would like to help break down barriers like a lot of people believe right now. And, take our differences, and instead of having all those, show everyone our similarities. Because that's how we bring everyone together. That's how we love one another. That's how we all live in peace. So.
So beautiful.
Aw, thank y'all.
It's so beautiful.
Try.
Well, do you have anything else that you would add? Because I have no further questions.
So what I would add is something, and this is kind of a little off subject, but something my parents have always taught me from the beginning is always be supportive of your friends, your family, your children, no matter what their passions are, no matter who they are from birth and what they like. Just let them be who they are. Let them be real, and be supportive of that. If I didn't have my parents' support, I highly doubt I would have ever made the documentary on the Coast Guard. I highly doubt I had ever been to Warner Brothers, because my dad let me move to Los Angeles at 23 years old. Let me tell you, I gave my parents a heart attack. But they believed in me and they believed in my dreams, and I ended up working for Warner Brothers at age 25 and stayed there for 3 years. And so just let's listen to everyone, let's support everyone's dreams, have dreams. The big thing is people lack dreams today. It is okay to dream big. I want people to dream big. I want people to have passions, because without that, without passion, without ambitions in life, what is there to live for is how I feel. So we need to dream big. We need to have purpose. We need to have drive to move forward. And so that would be what I end on. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to go to bed at night and think, this is silly, I'm never going to achieve it. But guess what? You probably will. If you put your whole heart, your soul, your brain, everything into it, you will achieve greatness in life. I truly believe that.
Yes. Staying positive. Always.
Staying positive, y'all. Stay positive during COVID. Everything's going to be okay. It's a new world. We're going to adapt to this new world. That's okay. But be grateful for what we have. I realize I've taken a lot for granted during COVID because, I love going to movies, love going to restaurants, love to go shopping, but I can't do that anymore. And then I realized, well, it's taught me a lesson. I took all that for granted, and now I'm more grateful than ever. And I'm positive that I'm healthy, and for all those who have had COVID or are still suffering, I'm praying for y'all. We're gonna get through this, and just hope that we can all come together. We should all come together as one to fight this as a whole. So,
absolutely.
Yep.
It's all in unity.
All in unity. And go vote in November. I just got registered in Louisiana.
Hey, that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
you just changed your residency again. So.
I just changed, from California to Louisiana. So, yeah, I will be.
I've got my ballot getting ready to come in, so I can.
Good. It's important to vote. We're the ones who have to start the change.
Yes, but also be mindful that your electoral college also destroys the population.
That is true.
But still hoping for the best.
Yeah. Wish we could amend parts of the Constitution from the 1700s to 2020. It's okay, in modern terms, this is what we need.
Still the early 1900s.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It was 100 years ago that women got the right to vote.
Yeah.
We can be further into the future than we are now. We're slacking.
It's true, but fear grips onto a lot of things, and that
is true.
Has to do with change, because most times when we're uncomfortable, people clench up and they freeze up. No, I'm not ready for it. But if you welcome change with open arms, it's actually a very beautiful thing.
thing is, and like you just said, people are afraid of change. It's hard. It's like, but if we open up our arms with change, we can all be uncomfortable together. Does that make sense? It's like, okay, we're all a little uncomfortable. We're accepting this change, but we're all doing it together. So it's not like we're all having to take that burden ourselves, because you're having the burden. You're having the burden. We're doing this together. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Kaitlin.
Thank y'all.
Your time, your words, and I loved learning a little bit more about your background and hearing what you're planning in the future.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I just need to get my crew together who's, hey, you guys want to wear a mask? We're going to go film with mask on because we got stories to tell. We got stories to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciated it.
Absolutely.